is Marinus Dijkstra. We'll start off with a round of introduction. We have a full group of us. So my name is Marinus. I've been working with Elsevier for the last 14 years. Most recently as engineering sales solution manager, providing consultancy in the engineering and geosciences space, working with governments, corporations, and universities a lot. David, you want to share some words?
Hey guys, my name is David Agmon. I'm originally from Israel. Been living in Amsterdam for past 2 years, and I've been working for Elsevier since the beginning of the year, customer consultant, and I will be speaking about Engineering Village after Marinus.
Maybe Dan want to share some words too.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. So I'm Dan Scott. I'm regional sales manager for the IET, and I'm speaking to you today from a fairly cloudy North Yorkshire.
Great. And Ryan, please.
Morning, everyone. My name is Ryan Varadaraja. I'm an account manager at Elsevier, and I'll be demoing Science Direct for you guys today.
Brilliant. Well, guys, thanks for sharing, and we will just kick off the session. We planned 3 hours for the session. We might be able to shave some of that time off. Guys, if there are any questions, please feel free to interrupt us. This is an interactive demo, and for us, it's really important that you get the most value out of it. So please stop us, ask questions, use the chats, and please feel free to interrupt us at all time. Yeah. So the agenda, as I said, it's a little bit packed. So why we are here, we're gonna open up with that. We're gonna do 4 product trainings. We're gonna talk about Novel, Engineering Village. We're going to talk about the inspect components, which is sitting on Engineering Village, which Dan will do. And then, as mentioned, Ryan will do Science Direct part, and then we're going to just close it off. So why we are here? Well, we are here to provide trainings on your recent R&D investment. So CSA Catapult recently acquired Engineering Village with Compendex, Inspect, and also Chimica. So the license runs until the end of March 2021, and this session is here to train you to get the most out of the product. Also, likewise, we have been enabling access to Novel and Science Direct for 2 months. This is complementary services from our organization. We know a lot of the organizations and institutes we work with are remote, makes it quite challenging to do normal day activities, if you may. So we have been providing that as complementary access. So by the end of the meeting, we hope that you know how to use Novel to really look at the fundamentals in engineering. Likewise, Engineering Village, how can you use it to find collaborators, key opinion leaders, do technology, horizon scanning, and then we hope that you have better insights on Inspect Analytics and how you can really use that system to dive deep into physics and science teams, and then we'll be sharing some great words there. And finally, lastly, but not certainly not the least, is how we can use Science Direct to really find, read, and disseminate primary research. So without further ado, what is Novel? In essence, Novel is to provide essential answers on engineering problems. Novel is not an Elsevier sole proprietary database. In fact, we work with 140 content providers, which would normally be considered competition, but we index engineering content from most of the engineering publishers out there to allow for multidisciplinary access. Some of the content types are technical handbooks or technical manuals, but it also describes methods, processes, and best practices. We have applied analytics on top of the content, which I will be showing shortly, to really help do data-related search, focus on equations, graph, and interactive capabilities on the platform. And the final part is about accessible. You can access Novel wherever you are. You can download to your iPad or your tablet. You can work remotely, offline, online. Yes. But in essence, it's about providing technical data to solve engineering problems. This is what some of our users are saying. It's created to really get to the market faster, increase efficiency because of all the content sources and the capabilities to do the research in the platform. But in essence, it's about solving design and development problems and help reduce cost. But if there's anything you should take home for you, it's about building technical knowledge on current industry topics through a wide range of essential technical information. So, without further ado, let's go to novel.com. I probably have to go now to Microsoft Team and stop sharing this and open a new share tray. We are so Zoom used. It's a bit, yeah, getting my hands around it. I would love a confirmation that you can see my screen. If anybody can confirm. Yeah.
Yeah, we can see it.
Oh, cheers. So this is Novel. Novel is a full text hosted database, so you can read full text technical references. There are multiple ways to search for data. You can search for materials, or you can just do text-based search. If you just look at the search bar and I would just hover, let's see, I would just hover my mouse back and forth, you already get an ID on how you can search, for example, cast numbers or combination of materials in glass, or looking at a property and inquiring about the density, or if you want to do calculation or you want to do conversion. So there's a lot of things you can use in it. Let's call it basic search form to start your search. And this is just to give you a glimpse on how to do it. Well, let's just start with a search. Let's start with semiconductors. That seems appropriate. So doing a search on Novel will show you this screen. You can see the amount of books we have, which is based on the search, the amount of graphs and tables we have related to the search. Likewise, amount of equations we have in the tool to do and definition. I think the refined by concept is really a good place to narrow down your search, because we have a thesaurus in the background which looks at your search and finds concept related to your search. So this is a nice way to say whatever you want to focus on. So this is a nice way to structure it. You will see the books and text, and it will give you already an indication of the type of content related to the search. You can see books, chapters, whether it's proceedings from a conference. We have engineering cases, looking at problems and also how they solve that problem, and regulatory information. Let's just focus on the first result. It is a book out of 2020, going to characterization, and I'm just going to click on that. So here you're greeted with a definition of what the book is about, and the type of content you can expect in the book. In this case, about experimental theoretical models for studying the facts, and well, we can see some of the semiconductors materials listed here. You can simply look at the subchapters and go into it, and you will see the book. Let's just focus on, let me just randomly click this one, Microsoft Effects. So this is the reading screen of the chapters of the book. This is your place where you will be doing most of your reading if you so desire. Just a small introduction to the type of functions. You can enable a screen reader, which will blow up a little bit of the screen, and you can zoom out or not. You will be able to look at the citations depending on the chapter or the part of the text you've selected. So you can reference that should you want to use it in a presentation or whatever way you want to use the data. You can print, download to your PC, or save to mobile. You could share it with colleagues, or simply save to folders. So in Novel, whatever you do, you can save and select to folders. This is an introduction to controlled effects in semiconductors. Let's say I want to add it to a folder. Let's just say I want to add it to laboratory. I just can say this is introduction text. So what is nice about Novel, whatever you do, you can add notes just for your later viewing. So this might be introductory text. And you can add this note like this. But if there are tables or specific highlights or a specific figure, maybe you want to look at later. This is a defects in semiconductors showing cantilever and detectors. So maybe you can make a mention. It's an illustration of image related to X, Y, Z. Oh, and you can do it like that. So whenever you make these anodes, it will be saved to your My Novel. So I'm going to save it again. So this is also a quick reminder. If you have not registered for username, even I think you have to register because of I don't think you are within the IP ranges. So I think you received methods to register. So definitely create a user profile, and which will allow you to make use of the in-platform storage, which is available. So this is one way to do it. So whatever you save, whatever you select for later viewing will be stored in your My Novel page. So as you can see, I've been doing some earlier work on advanced packaging and looking some of the themes I found on your website, whether it's design and fabrications or with photonics. I noticed you have capabilities to do reliability study or photonics design, optical system design. So you can create folders as you wish. I've just done it like this. And what is powerful about this function is that you can share it with your colleague. So let me just share it with my colleague in this case. You can add a message. This might be interesting as you wish. So this is quite powerful. You can select full access or read only. So if you're in a team, you have a great sense of trust and collaboration. Maybe you want to give full access, which means everybody in that folder, it's quite simple. They have the rights to delete or remove the content. Or maybe you want to have a bit of a controlling function. You can also say read only, and you can do it like this. If you share it, I think you will get a highlight that there now are two participants in this folder. Indeed, that would be me and David Egmont. So it's pending. He has to accept the folder, and we can do it like that. Right? It is a very small introduction to saving, folder managers, and how you can add notes. Let's go to the browse section. So here you can see all the subjects we cover on Novel. So it's quite multidisciplinary, as you can imagine. In engineering, we know we need most of the natural sciences and integrate elements of those different sciences to come up with assessments or insights for whatever project you're working on, which is also the reason why we've included it, whether it's nanotechnology and structures or electrical and power engineering, or whether it's electrics and semiconductors. You can use this as a way to just explore. Let's say you're in the packaging group. Well, you can look at the packaging sections of electric and semiconductors, and you will see here the kind of content we have available. And similar to this, if you find a useful text, you can, of course, save it to your Novel, in this case, advanced packaging. And it's really a space to just manage that process. Yeah. So we also cover equations. Let's go to equations home. So we have, we took the most dominant equations which are out there per subject fields, and we created an interactive equation solver in the platform, which will allow you to explore, you can explore different types of equations, and you can see some of the examples of the equations we have here. I saved this to my Novel, so we can use it as a good example. So this is the AC equivalent resistor of LLC converters. If you would do it, you will get a definition of the equation, and you will see the equation in case with supporting text from where it's originated from. In this case is from IEEE. So from this equation place, we can open the worksheet, and here you can interactively build equations from scratch, depending on how proficient you are with this. And you will get the definitions, you can see the variables and the likes of the equations. So this is interactive. So we see here the load resistor in this case is, it sits on 10 ohm. I can change this. Be mindful of the green box called magnetizing inductor. Let's say I would change this to 200. We should see the output changing. Yeah, and similar, the R in this case, this is the let's call it variable or the unit. You can select the unit in case, go to units, insert units, and we have a lot of units which you can choose to change this to depending on your specific interest or on what you want to change. So let's just leave that for that. But you can do calculations in Novel. You can save it to my Novel as an example. Still saved in my Novel. And you can also download it to different screens. So I'm not sure if you're using Matcat. I know a lot of organizations are, but you could also export it to Matcat. So you have the equation there for further manipulation. Yes. So if there are any questions, feel free to let me know, else we're just going to carry on. Property searching is another way to search. We also have a chemical material search, but let's focus on open material property search for now. This is really a place to find materials and all elements related to that materials, as opposed to going to tables. You can search, of course, on silicons and variation of semiconductors, but as my expertise does not lay in this field, I'm just going to focus on an element I know. And in this case, I've actually selected acrylonitrile. So as I'm typing it, it's going to give me suggestions. So acrylonitrile is a liquid combustion material, and if I just search using this material, it will give me 4 to 6 results. But the powerful element is that you can add and drag and drop material properties for further manipulation. So because it's a liquid combustion material, we might be interested in the density of the property. So I select density, and we can see the different options we have at our disposal. Just dragging and dropping, note the 426 results, dragging and dropping will already get the results down quite a bit to 37. This is just if you say, I just want a result mentioning that name, but the advanced you want to go, the advanced you can go. You can also say, I'm looking for material with how do you say that? A variable greater than 10 or 100 or maybe 1. So you can see it's changing that on the fly. You can also select, the exact unit you're looking for. You can do this like that. But in this case, let's just focus on exist. So that's density. As I mentioned, highly inflammable material. So we might be interested in the temperature. So I'll end selecting temperature here as a variable. And in this case, I will be just going for the thermodynamic variable temperature. So we can see the results going already down to 16. We use these Boolean operators to either say or, not, or and. In this case, let's just focus on result having both of those in it and clicking through. So here you go. We have graphs and tables where the material is mentioned. We can see highlighted the name acrylonitrile. We also see the CAS registration number as a it's a way of chemical identification, of course. You can see the formulas and more things for later viewing. So we can go to the view full table. And as you can indeed see, acrylonitrile, Cas number, we see the minus in temperature max. We should also have the density, which is represented here. What is powerful to notice, if you see, it took this one line from 7,000 records in a table. So you can imagine it's quite powerful to construct your search like this to not waste too much time. You have various options to sort, limit, remove, or change the columns as deemed necessary by you or where your interest lay. You can also go, in this case, to an interactive equation plotter. We have interactive graphs at our disposal in some cases. So here you can see the graph in question. We see the equation, we see the variable x is represented by temperature. We see the y-axis also represented by the density in the liquid phase. So if you noticed, it's represented in kelvins, but maybe you are more interested in degrees, so you can change that on the fly. Then the reason why is we have a unit converter in the background which converts unit as you go along. So now it's as simple as, let me just use grid lines. Now it's as simple as plotting the curve depending on where your interest lay, and you can see the plotter adding it, but maybe you're interested in adding it manual. You can also, the x-axis is degrees, so you might also be interested in just adding that manual, and you can see that like that. So also after doing this work, we can add it to my novel, and of course we can export it in different formats for further manipulation, whether it's Excel or HTML or SQL text, depending on how you want to use the raw data. Let's just do it as an example. And not sure if you see the Excel opening, because I think I've opened the internet browser.
Yeah, but no, it's only the browser, so we don't.
It's only the browser. My apologies. I can send you the example, but you would see an Excel file with equations and all the graphs being plotted with a certain points, which you could then export into other tools for further manipulations. Yeah, whether it's SolidWorks or whatever you're using. So let's have a look. So this is really basic introduction to Novel. So we have a unit converter. I won't go into detail too much, but I just wanted to highlight it that you can use it as a way to convert units from one to another. It's quite advanced, so we might need a formal session to go over this, but if you need further information, you can also always go to our support hub, which will explain you into details on how to do it. So other tools which we have, periodic tables, different Excel add-ins, a Steam calculator, depending on where your interest lay. Let's, in this case, just go back to the searching. There's something I want to illustrate, and then we'll take some questions. So I'm searching here for semiconductors. If you notice on the right-hand side, we have an API integration. It's from Engineering Village. It's quite simple. When you do a search here on Novel, it will do the same search on Engineering Village on the Compendix databases, and you have a little bit of an idea of whether there are standards surrounding this theme or later journals, and you can click outward and you can go then to Compendix on Engineering Village to well, further your research. So let's just go back to Novel and have a look at what we've done. Indeed, we can see that I've saved some searches about, we looked at equations, which you can then also move to an interested folder, if you may, or delete it. And really, this is what it is. So it's a very short introduction to Novel. I would like to take some questions if there are any, or David Ekman, if I missed anything, you can also use this a moment to say, cover this, Marinus. Let's see if there are any questions. In the chat, maybe? No? No questions? Let me see. Show conversation. No
I
questions?
don't see anything in the chat.
I hope this was clear. So that's a basic introduction to Novel and what it can do. So guys, I would really recommend you have this trial, make use of it, look at some of the documentation and see how you can use it, whether it's for evaluation models or whether it's about getting familiar to a concept. I know you have a bright team at CSA. Was it 27 PhDs, and which means you're quite experts in a field. And you know how it is, unfortunately, with all the cross disciplines, it's also important to get acquainted with new teams, use it as a way to get educated, and let us know what you think of it. If you don't like it, let us know. If you like it, also let us know.
I see one question in the chat.
Okay.
What happens to the saved information after the trial ends? Do we still have it?
So there are ways.
I think. Oh, sorry. After the end of March 2021.
That's for Engineering Village. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So this is. So yeah, Maurice, go ahead. Answer.
Oh, would you mind speaking up? Whoever asked the question, maybe you can clarify in voice, if you wish.
Jolion or Jolion. I'm sorry to mispronounce your name. The novel data.
Yes. Oh, Julian. So Novel, we have a complementary trial. It's running to, I believe, the 21st of August. And so before the trial expires, I would suggest to save some of the results, and there are ways to export to do your research. But in essence, what you're using in this platform now during the trial, use it, but after trial expires, you won't be able to access the platform, so you won't be able to continue your research there. So use it as a way to get some things done before the 21st of August is my recommendation. And just to clarify, the 31st of March, that's for Engineering Village, and this is something my colleague will touch upon afterwards. And also safe searches on Engineering Village. Yeah, it will be there, and you can have various ways to export. Does that answer your question, Jolion, if I pronounce your name correctly?
If I can maybe add, Marinus.
Yes, please.
So everything you save on the platform stays on the platform. So this is a web app. If you save something, it does not save to your computer, but you have access via the app itself. So once you don't have access anymore, you don't have access to your saved items. So you can do, as Marinus said, you can export to Excel file or to different files, and then you can save it wherever you want on a computer or wherever you want, and then you have it. And of course, this is your files, and we do not have access to that. So I hope that answers the question.
Okay, great. I hope. And David, what and I will do is perhaps do a questionnaire at the end of the use trial on how useful. Yeah, that would be great. That would be fantastic. And I just want to re-mention, we don't do this as a sales pitch. We do this complementary services, so we won't be using any sales tactics. This is complementary. If you guys need an extra month after the trials, we can also discuss this. This is just COVID support, yeah? And indeed, we can do a survey or do some interviews with power users, and just tell us what you think about it and be upfront. If you don't like it, we love hearing that, so we can put resources to develop it. Yeah?
Marinus, can I ask
Hello,
a
Sophia.
question? Hello.
Hello.
Is Novel connected with Elsevier? What I mean is, can you open it from the Elsevier web page, or you have to open a new one? The final question is, do you connect with the same password to Novel, or is it a different one?
So in terms of the Elsevier URL, not sure if I understand it. I think you have to go to www.novel.com.
So you open a new web page, yeah?
You have to open a new web page indeed. I'm not sure if you can use the same username and password. David, do you know, Ekman?
It depends how you set it. Sometimes you can. Sometimes you should make a new user. So it really depends. I think in your case, it requires a new user.
Yeah, I think we're using the two different entitlement system in the back end. So we have different different coding for EV, and I think there's a different database in the background. So you might have to have two registrations, both for EV and for Novel.
Do we have these codes? I mean, did you send us in the past our passwords to be able?
Yes, I think we did that, and I think we realized it was a bit clunky, and I think we enabled the CSA email address. So if that's correct me if I'm wrong, at CSA. I think we enabled that at extension, so users should be able to go to novel.com, register, and if you're asked for, you can use your email address, and once you sign up using your email address, it should recognize you as an authorized user. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sophia, maybe you can try it now. If it works, it should take 1 minute. If it doesn't work, we can maybe fix it later. But
yeah, then we can cover it in the call later, if you would.
Yeah, that's true. I can try now if you want me.
Just
okay.
app.novel.com.
Any further questions for Novel, or does this? It seems maybe a straightforward. That's also fine. Then I think we're gonna end the Novel part, and then it's up to Mr. David Ekman to focus on Engineering Village, and we touched a bit on the foundation. And as discussed, let's see how you can use EV to find key opinion leaders, do technology horizon scanning, and all that great stuff. So I will be. Do I need to unshare, or can you just take over?
Let me try to take over.
My apologies. This is second time using Teams.
I'll show you later. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Sophia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carry on.
Sophia, you can try, and wherever you can, just let us know. That's.
I'm now stopping with sharing, so I believe it's all over to you, Mr. Ekman.
Let's see. Can you see my screen?
Ah, fantastic. Yes, we can.
Yeah,
okay. So, hi guys. Thank you, Marinos. Also, as Marinos said, this is rather a conversation than a presentation. So if you have any questions, just don't even wait for me to finish the sentence. Ask the question. Also, if you have questions regarding what just Marinos showed you, the novel part, just ask it away. Don't worry, Marinos or I will answer you. So we're going to see 2 slides, and then we're going to see a live demo of Engineering Village. So getting to know Engineering Village better, let's start with what is Engineering Village, or as we call it, EV. So as apart from Novel, EV is a search and discovery platform for engineering research. It's a platform to search for metadata about the data, about papers or journals or conference that you are able to see later. We have 13 of the most comprehensive databases available. I know you are subscribed to Compendex, InSpec, and Chimica. We have over 200 engineering disciplines. And when you are subscribed to Engineering Village, you know you are in good hands, because 20 of the top engineering schools worldwide are our customers, as well as hundreds of other companies and universities. So when you use Engineering Village, you can find metadata about journals, conference proceedings, standards, dissertation, books, and patents. Now let's see it live. Let me stop sharing that and share the other thing. Just a second. And now I missed that. Okay. Can you see my browser, Engineering Village, if someone can please confirm?
Yes.
I can.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So this is the homepage to Engineering Village. And as Marino said before, from Novel, there is an API that connects to Engineering Village. So when you look for something in Novel, you can also see results from Engineering Village and dive directly from the Novel platform to this platform that you see here. This is the homepage. As you can see here, we have different databases. You are subscribed to Compendex, InSpec, and Chimica. I will now touch on Compendex and InSpec. If you have more, you just toggle off and on, whatever you want, and just check those. And I'll start with the basics. Let's say you are looking for semiconductors. You have a free text here. You just hit the search, and you see here all of your results in a second. So you see here a lot of results from those two databases, over 2 million. Now, the nice thing is you can refine those results better and better. For example, let's start with the search term itself. Semiconductor is a really broad term. You can add another field. Let's say you want to look for semiconductors and gallium arsenide. So you add another term. You can choose here the logic. It can be and, or not. And then you can narrow down your search. Here you already see far less results than before. Before we had 2 million, now we have 200,000. So this is semiconductors and gallium arsenide. Now here you have either those tabs or here this pane on the left. You can further narrow it down to anything, to the specific that you want. For example, as I said, this is a discovery platform to see metadata. So you can choose to see only open access. This is all the results that you have access to it. All the other results, you see the abstract and the title. I will get to that a little bit later. And you can further refine by the document type, by the database itself, by the author, if you want to see only one author, or the affiliation, vocabulary, and so on and so forth, language. And for each one of those refinement tools, you can click here to see, for example, a graphics of the different authors in this search term. And you can download it. So if you want to see different metrics of your search terms, you can download it and have it for later use. Now, a pretty powerful tool that I like here that I want to show you is the physical property refinement. We're talking about here about semiconductors, and so I think we can choose maybe volt. So we go here to voltage, and we can choose here the unit itself. We have picovoltage, teravoltage. I will leave it at voltage here. And you can choose here between, or again, the different operators greater than, equals to. Let's say from 100 to 200, and let me see. And then you have only 265 results. So you know all those results are from the search you did from those two databases, and you have this physical property. So it all has voltage, or talking about voltage between 100 to 200 volt. This is a way for you to know exactly what you need. Now, when you click on something, so this is all the results I have. Let's start with one of them. Let's say you're interested in this one. You see here the title, and you see here the abstract, and then you can have an idea of what is this paper about. And this is a way for you not to just go ahead and purchase or look for a lot of papers and read them and then understand what they're about. You can just look here, read the abstract, and then understand if you need it or not. And if you want to go to the full text, you click here, and then if you have access to the full text, you will get there. If not, you will be redirected to the specific website, and you can pay for it or make a subscription in order to see the full text. Now, like Novel, everything here can be saved, can be shared, can be saved in folders. So, for example, let me show you something else. Let's look for capacitors.
David, hey, we've got a question from
Yes.
Heyman Shams. He asks, can you find patterns?
Yes. So let me see. Yeah. So for example, I can go here, document type, and refine by patent, and I can do limited to or exclude, and I will do limit to here. And these are the metadata about those patents. So again, with the capacitors as a search term. Okay. Any further questions about it? Okay. So this is the paper with this patent. Are there more questions in the text box? Let me
No,
see.
he says thanks.
Perfect. Thank you. And if you have more questions, just unmute yourself and ask the question. That's perfectly fine. When you see the results, it doesn't matter now what results specifically you want. You can just select here any results you want, and you will see you will see it here under selected records. So this is just a temporary folder that you can select something. Let's say you're looking for different things. You saw something interesting, you just select them, and you can have it here as a temporary folder. If you want a specific folder, something you can save, And again, to answer the question before, this is saved on the web platform. So it's not, it will not save on your computer, but you can go here. And first of all, you can save it. You can save it to your PC if you choose to, or to Mendeley, or to Google Drive, or whatever you want. But you can also choose a folder. And I have, for example, here 2 folders, one called heat transfer, one called compound semiconductors. I can also create a new folder, and then it will be saved there.
David, question from
Yes.
Marcelo.
Thank you.
Can I look for articles on scientific publishers such as Optical Society of America or SPIE Library, please?
That's right. So it's SPIE.
Yep.
So yeah. Yeah, sure. So I see it here. And if you want to look for different things, if you want to tell me, but the idea is you put everything you want here on the search bar. You can choose here, I mentioned here the all fields, but you can be subject, title, abstract, or only the author name, only the affiliation, author affiliation, or only title if you want to. And then you can further narrow down your results.
Hi, David. This is Marinus. I think it might be worthwhile if you do a search, just a broad search, like the semiconductors, and then maybe you go through some of the publishers on the refine bar, just to illustrate the type of publishers which are available.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So you have here again, I chose semiconductors, all field, just hit the search, and you see here on the left pane, you see the document type, you see the author affiliation, and publishers. So these are the publishers we have here. Let's see all of them. So these are the publishers we have. If you're looking for something specific, you just, for example, if you want the IE, you do limit to, and you can have it.
Can I add a comment here, David?
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
So, as the reason why we have enabled Science Direct Corporate Edition is also to help with some of the concerns surrounding accessing the full-text researchers. So, whenever you see Elsevier BV, and those types, there's a high probability that it's covered by the Science Direct Corporate Edition, which Ryan will touch upon. So you can use this as a way to at least do a search where you say, I know I got access to a Science Direct for 2 months, and so you will be able to read the full articles. And I just wanted to add that. So unfortunately, we work with a lot of content providers. If it was me, I would enable everything for you, but unfortunately I can't. so use it as a way to say, okay, I can read papers here. Thank you.
Thanks, Marinus. So yeah, you can choose here specific publishers, for example, those 2 Elsevier's ones, limit to, and then everything you see here, you should have access to it as Marinus described. And one note here, I told you before that from Novel, the tool that Marinus showed before, you have a direct connection to Engineering Village, but also here you have this Novel search button. And if you click here, you will have the same search, but in the Novel platform. So that's a great way for you to go back and forth between those 2 tools. Now, if there aren't any more questions, I want to show you another thing. We have many different kind of searches here. I want to focus on the thesaurus one, because it's really important. So let's go again to capacitors. And this is good if you know about a term, but you don't know specifically what is the specific terms that the indexes are about. You can just search index. And here you can see many different titles or many different terms that has something to do with the terms you put in. And then you can, let's say, choose 2 of them. You choose the end of the or, and then you can search again with those specific indexes, because these are the names of the indexes. Now, another really important thing here, let me just do it again. If I restart it, and I go here to exact term, and let's say again, I choose capacitors, I can see here broader terms or narrower terms. And this is also really good because sometimes you're not really sure what is the term, and you're not really sure if you can do something broader or something narrower. So for example, capacitors, broader terms would be the electric devices, electric reactors, or electrostatic devices. But narrower terms can be ceramic capacitors or film capacitors or MOS capacitors. And then you can choose, let's say, the MOS capacitors, and you can just go ahead and do the search. And this will be more specific. And I think last but not least, there is a feature here that we can also do in Novel. You can save searches and you can make alerts to those searches. And these are all the searches I have saved. And some of them I toggle the alert on. You can also toggle it off. Alert means every week you will get a notification to your email that says that there is a new metadata about your search criteria. Let's say you look for capacitors or for semiconductors, you saw all the results, and you can, even if you narrow it down or refine by author or by the voltage or whatever you want, you can save this specific search. Every time there is a new data source that matches this search criteria, you will get an email notification and you get a link and you can just go and see that. This is a great way to stay on top of things and to know that you know everything that is new in this field of research. Do you have any questions? Maybe there is more in the chat.
David, this is Dan. Can I just add an observation? With my IET inspec hat on, I see that the default when you go into this detailed search, not this one, it's got them both, but when you were searching on capacitors there, the default was just on Compendex. So it's just something.
Oh, do you mean here the yeah?
Exactly.
With the thesaurus, you can always choose one. So Compendex or inspec.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, the default is Compendex. I believe it's alphabetical. Yeah, it's alphabetical. That's the only thing. Right. And if you want to do it on inspec, which David will touch after my presentation, and you can have the same. So if you go here, and you can do the exact term on the other database, which is inspec. So you have here a little bit different.
Fine. Thank you, David.
Thank you. Let me. Yeah.
I want to comment on a question in chat from Marcelo about how to access full text. Can I only see the metadata? So indeed, on EV, it's an aggregator of multi-publishers and content types, only abstracts. And I'm recommending a plugin. It's called Copernio.com. So if it's open access, we have a way on Engineering Village where you can say, is it open access, yes or no? And Copernio sometimes offers, as Sophia is suggesting, the full text. So Copernio is from another publisher, but it's a nifty little plugin. So if you would install that plugin and you would click on full text, it will do a scan on whether there's a non-embargoed open access full text at your disposal. You know, sometimes with publishers, it is a subscription article, but the let's call it the preprint can be accessed sometimes after 1 or 2 years. So that's a little bit of a trick to maneuver a bit of the publisher landscape. And Copernio indeed can sometimes help you get a free copy of a full text. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And also, some of the text that you don't have access to, if you, let's say, let me just check let me just look for something. If you have your results and you go to full text, sometimes with the specific website of the full text, you can have a demo or you can have 1 or 2 for free. So the best practice is to narrow down your search to exactly what you want. And then if you have an option to get 1 or 2 for free, you know that these 2 would be valuable to you. So this is always something you can check.
May I ask something? But now with Science Direct, we can have full text available for this trial, couple of months trial. Is that true?
Yes, that is correct. So Science Direct Corporate Edition, and Ryan will be at the end going into the details about what it covers, how many journals there are. Corporate Edition, to the best of my knowledge, is Elsevier exclusive. So if it's Elsevier research journals, that should be part of your trial, so you can be able to access it. Does it answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So not for all the publishers in the world, but just for Elsevier. Yeah.
David, could you do me a quick favor? Could you try and click on an Elsevier publication here? Could you go click full text just to see? I want to see if it takes you directly to Science Direct or if it takes you to the journal's landing page.
Let's see. So limit 2 and full text. Science Direct.
Great. Okay, yeah. So what will happen with Elsevier publications here during your engineering village trial is if you click view full text, it will take you to Science Direct. And as long as you're signed in or if your accounts are connected, I'll try and figure out some way to do that. It's just a matter of clicking download PDF as you see there for the most part of the journal.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Thank you, Ryan. So just to emphasize, if you narrow down the search and you choose here only the Elsevier ones, you should be, during the trial version, you should be able to have the access to the full text using the Science Direct. And this is as easy as you've just seen. Just one click, Science Direct, and then you can download it as a PDF. Anything more that you, Marinus, Dan, Ryan, you want to add, or any other of the attendees? Do you have any other questions? Even if it's for a novel or any other tool.
Can I explain how to access Novel?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Actually, you just Google login to Novel.
Okay.
Very complex.
Yeah.
The first line is login Novel. You click there, and then there is a box.
Do you want to maybe share a screen and show us?
Ready. So if I share it, I cannot.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I registered already.
Yeah,
sorry. But it's very easy because it appears a novel, the novel website, which is a box, and says on the one part it says sign in, the other part it says check your access. So you click on check your access, you put your email, and then it's the verification of the company. And once you click your email, you put your password, the new password, and then create a Try Novel account. And you get an email, and your account is now activated. It's pretty straightforward, actually. You follow the steps after the check your access. It's a minute. Yeah.
Good. Maybe you can just put the first link in the chat so they can use it later. Or if you want to send it later in an email internally.
Yeah,
I think it will also be recapping it. Yeah.
I can share. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I also wanted to tell you, everybody, that we will later send you the recording. But if you have any other questions, feel free to send us email. We will be more than happy to get on a quick call with you via Teams and share the screen and help you understand something. For Novel Engineering Village, even if you have a really simple question, you forgot how to search for something, or you're not sure how to use the interactive equations, just contact us by email. We can have a really short meeting or a long meeting, depends what you want, and we can show it to you. So don't hesitate to do it. We want you to make the best out of this trial, and we're here to help you to do that.
Great.
Super.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Oh, great. So that's the box. So you just Google it, log into Novel. That's easy, yeah? I can do this. So log in Novel. So log in Novel.
Yep.
It appears this. Okay, and now I'm logged in. You go here, check your access. And then you put your email. Okay, I put mine. And then verify access. You have access. Sorry, I cannot do anything. and then after this click, it says create your Try Novel, and you follow the steps. It's very easy after that. You get an email. In the email, you activate your account, and once you activated it, you log in again with your email and password. Very easy, actually, very, very easy.
Thank you for sharing. Do note, please use your Catapult email extension, because that's the one in the system we said, okay, that has the approval to get access to all the content. So no other email addresses. Use your company email address, because that's the one which will give you access to all the content. Okay.
Yeah.
Because because let me, if you could go to browse, Sophia. And I think we will be sending an email after this session to reconfirm the steps, the best steps to make sure you get access. Because, yes, you have access.
Actually, it's here. Sorry.
No worries. If you just go to the browse button on the left-hand side.
Here.
No, browse. So even more left. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I just want to have a quick look. Yeah, so this is probably not the best way to do it. I'm sorry to tell you. So I would go to www.novel.com and register using your CSA address. Don't use TryNovel. Sorry, Sophia. Because then you will get access to all the 9,000 books. And this way, it's just a sampler. So kindly use the www.novel.com. And we will be, after the meeting, sharing an overview, because I think that's important, with the right way of getting authentication, because you don't want to try novel. Okay, Sophia?
Yeah.
Okay, but thank you for trying, and we're gonna confirm so that you make sure you get access to all the content. All right?
Great, yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you too.
So, may I stop sharing? Yeah?
Yes, you can. Okay, so thank you very much. If you don't have any other questions, Dan can start.
Yeah, I was just going to ask if anybody wants a 5-minute break before I proceed, or is everybody okay?
Yeah, good call.
Well, we can have
let's see. I'm fine either way. I think we can.
If we're good.
Anyone wants a 5-minute break?
I think we can just move forward.
Yeah.
I think these days with Zoom and virtual meetings, I think people are more at liberty to just sneak out for a couple of minutes, which would be perfectly fine, guys. So thank you. Then maybe
I think we need to press on because I know people are quite busy. So we've kind of set aside this 2 hours. So if you don't mind, Dan, can we just press on? And if anyone wants to do a bio break, then they can do it in mute.
Good call. And Dan, floor yours.
Okay, are you seeing that cover slide?
We're seeing your presentation mode.
Okay. Oh, are you? That's exactly what you don't want to see. How about that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Fine. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, David and Marinas. Thank you all for your time. So, what I'm going to do, I'm well aware that you're getting a vast amount of information here, and so I'm going to try and give you a good insight into InSpec and InSpec Analytics without trying to cover everything that it has to offer. As with the other presenters, you're welcome to ask questions as we go through. If I don't see sort of hand raised, or if there's any questions on chat, if one of the other guys could flag it up. What I'm going to cover then is I'm just going to give you a little bit of an introduction to the IET. I don't know if any or all of you are familiar with the IET as an organization. If you are, then hopefully there's a little bit of new information in there which will be of interest. I'll then talk about the databases, InSpec and InSpec Analytics. So there will be a little bit of some of the ground that David has covered, but again, hopefully not too much repetition, and we'll go on to a demonstration. One point I really want to emphasize is that, as I've just said, what I can show you today, even in 45 minutes, which I asked for, is really scratching the surface of what the surface of what these data sets can offer. So I would strongly recommend that if you're going to be using these afterwards, that we do some further training, because I think there's you'll get a lot of benefits out of that. So briefly, as I said, just talking about the IET. So it is a very venerable organization. It was founded in 1871. So we're now making lots of preparations to make a lot of noise and celebrate our 150th anniversary next year. In that time, it's gone through a number of guises. So you can see it started as the STE, and then for many, many years was the IEE. And then through the merger of a number of organizations became the IET in 2006. We purchased our very, very plush Savoy Place head office in central London. If any of you ever get a chance to go there, then I would thoroughly recommend it. It's got a rooftop terrace with a view over central London that I think is the single best view. It's you could have a look at. Money couldn't buy it. It's fantastic. And the IET as an organization is it's a multidisciplinary organization. We're the largest engineering institution in the UK. We focus on 6 key engineering sectors: so built environment, design and production, energy, digital, transport, and information and communications. And so I would have thought there's quite a high degree of resonance with that, with what the work of the CSA is doing. And we do a huge number of things. We are a major advisor to government and other sort of key stakeholders. We are a big advocacy body for engineering and STEM in general, but specifically for issues like women in engineering and developing engineers and helping in developing countries. We provide bursaries and scholarships for young engineers, lifelong learning and support. We do the accreditation of many degrees of engineering and computing degrees, and so on. So lots and lots and lots of different activities. And as a result of that, many of our members who have benefited from the support that the IET offers throughout their careers are happy to give back to the engineering community. So again, we have a small army of 4,000 plus volunteers who work in a variety of roles as mentors, as network organizers, course accreditors, providing insight into the standards and regulation, industry standards and so on that we provide. We are 169,000 members and growing year on year. And although we are a UK-based organization, we have a truly global footprint. So we have lots of offices around the world. We have a global membership. And as I say, a lot of our activities are global in nature. So we'll move on and talk in more detail about Inspec. So again, some of you may be familiar with Inspec, but I don't want to make that sort of supposition. So what is it? Well, Inspec is a specialist database that indexes scientific research in the fields of engineering, physics, and computing. It's been around in its sort of digital, current digital format for over 50 years, back to 1969. And before that, the earlier sort of imprint of and archive goes back to 1898. So again, it's been here for a very, very long time. And the purpose of Inspec is to rigorously curate and index scientific content. And we use a sophisticated matrix of terms and classifications, again, some of which David made reference to in his demonstration. And the purpose being that researchers who are working in a specific field are able to wade through the millions and millions of papers that have been published and find the papers and the research that are most relevant to them. That's the service that we have provided all of these years. We work with many thousands of publishers, and we index many thousands of journals, including and along with other relevant literature. So conference proceedings, some book chapters, archive, ARXIV. We now index a lot of their material. And we supply, we have customers, subscribers, again, on a global basis, very heavily and predominantly in academia. We can see there lots of government bodies, so the National Physical Laboratory, again, who I think you work very closely with as well, and lots of corporate organizations. So it says here 18.5 million records to March 2019. We've added the best part of 1 million records in the time since this slide was created. So we are now on about 19.5 billion records. So it is a huge body of information. And you can see at the bottom here, again, the breakdown by those records in the 4 categories that we split our information into. So physics, electrical engineering, computing, and then production and manufacturing engineering. And this is, in essence, what we do. So we get the bibliographic metadata from all of those publishers. So it will have the title of an article, the authors, their affiliations, the abstract, very importantly, and then other bits and pieces of information. So the ISSN, the digital object identifier, and so on. That will then be passed to one of our subject indexers, who are all subject specialists in their particular field. So the first thing they will do is verify that the research meets a quality threshold, which makes it worth including in spec. And then they will go through it and they will add a whole variety of different codes and terms and tags and so on. So first things are our controlled and uncontrolled terms. These basically are thesaurus terms. So there are almost 10,000 of those. If in the course of reviewing the article, the indexer finds a phrase or a word which they may not be familiar with, but which is clearly critical to the article, it will originally be tagged as an uncontrolled term. And then if we start to see it recurring in the literature going forwards, eventually it will be upgraded and become part of the permanent thesaurus. And then you have our InSpec classification codes. I'll talk about these in more detail and demonstrate. These are unique to InSpec, and it provides a very highly organized and structured hierarchy for the information. You've then got things like treatment codes, chemical, numerical, and astronomical indexing. So again, very important for people working in these fields. They can apply these filters and again, just produce the most accurate results that they need. Somebody asked a question about patent codes. So again, yes, we use IPCs. And here's an example. Again, we'll look at these in more detail. Now, normally, if I'm doing a demonstration like this, I would do it using an example of the institution that I'm presenting to. Obviously, because the CSA is quite new, you haven't yet had any research which has been published and then indexed into InSpec. Some of the other catapults, interestingly, have. I think we've got 4 different catapults that are in InSpec. So I've used an example which includes Cardiff University, since obviously I know that the close relationship you have with them. So this is an article which is actually, it's a conference paper. The lead publisher, and I want you to sort of just make a note of this, Roberto Quaglia, his affiliation to Cardiff. And you can see then, so this bit at the top down to the bottom of the abstract is the information that we get from the publisher, and then it's all of the terms and phrases and codes below that, which is the value add that the IET does. So the InSpec control terms, you can see all of the uncontrolled terms, including frequency bands used in this research, the various classification codes that we've added it to. In this case, they all begin with a B for, and so they're all indexed under electrical engineering, and the IPC codes, and then the treatment code as well. Yeah. So just a little bit more about the controlled terms, the thesaurus terms. So they are very carefully structured so that if you are putting in a search term, hopefully it, even if you don't put in the exact term, we apply what we call lead-ins, which will flag up the results. It will show the results for that. So I've put here on the left-hand side some of the terms which are in our thesaurus, which hopefully are relevant for you. But of course, there are many, 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 many more. So that is purely for illustration. So the example on the right here is based on a very simple search on semiconductor, and a couple of things to point out. So you can see, so it's showing 9 results. I think there were 100 odd in total. So that's the level of detail that we break just semiconductors information down into. So you can see that it's showing lots of results with semiconductor in the title, but you've also got in there electrical conductivity, and below that CMOS integrated circuits, which don't. But again, the way that the information has been indexed and structured, the reviewers know that they are critical sort of components or results for semiconductors, and therefore it is picking those up. Something else to note is it is showing results for both types of semiconductor. So you can see at the top there, wideband gap and 3-5 semiconductors and so on, but also for the production of different types of semiconductors. So you've got semiconductor thin film, semiconductor materials. And I noted as I was doing my research for this meeting that amongst the CSA's objectives are developing new applications for semiconductors through things like simulation and modeling and prototyping. And again, you can see we have specific search terms within the database for semiconductor device models, semiconductor materials and technology, even down to gallium arsenide and so on. So again, the level of very specific searching that you can do is very detailed indeed. In terms of the subject classifications, which I mentioned, so we have again a structured hierarchy which goes 5 levels deep in terms of the information that we drill down to. So you can see in this example from the top level of electrical and electronic engineering, where we have something like 7 million records, we go down and down and down through the hierarchy until we get to this level, this category here, superconducting coils and magnets. And for every one of the the millions of records that we have, we can drill down to this level, and then we can create in InSpec Analytics a page of information related to that. I get the text is probably quite small to see here, but so this is a page of information all about superconducting coils and magnets. So at the top there, you can see a timeline showing how research has been published year on year. You can see the total number of articles published in this area, the trend. So it's showing a 27% increase in research in this field in 2018 over 2013. And if you can see it, it's then got more information about the co-occurring concepts. So the related thesaurus terms, the related subject classification terms. Below that, you've got the top organizations publishing in this field, and the journals that they're publishing in, and the conference papers and conferences that they're attending as well. So again, just a huge wealth of information about a very, very broad range of subjects. Again, one of the benefits of InSpec is in an increasingly interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary age, we're able to show exactly what the relationship is and the crossover amongst different subjects. So you will find that a lot of our subjects will be indexed across multiple fields. So if it covers physics and electrical engineering and computing, then it will be tagged all the way across. So moving on to, that's InSpec in a nutshell. As I say, that is an InSpec record. That's how it's created, and that's structured, and that's the purpose that it serves. As I say, it's basically to enable researchers to quickly and smartly find the best quality material that they have, that they want to have. So moving on to InSpec Analytics. So we've known for quite a while at the IIT that we have a very highly curated and very high quality data set. And we all know that data now is considered the new gold or the new oil, or however you want to describe it. And so what other value could we utilize that information for? And so we have over the last few years been working on and have now launched InSpec Analytics. So the 19.5 million records that I mentioned, and again, you can see in the middle of the screen here, when you actually split that information back down into its component parts, so all the things that we've looked at on the record, so all of the authors, their affiliations, the keywords and tags and codes that have been applied, you actually have something like 5 billion pieces of information. It's enormous. And so the question was then, well, how do we utilize that in a different way? So we've worked with companies and semantic technology, basically to create a richer use for the information beyond simply being able to look at sort of relevant records. So if we take this example as a sort of snapshot of the information that you can look at, you can look at organizations in great detail. So here again, On a search, simply look at semiconductor. Here are just a snapshot of the organizations that have semiconductor in their title. We have nearly 29,000 organizations who are on Inspec Analytics, so we can create a page of information about the output for any of those. And for all of those organizations, you can monitor their research. You can look at how where their strengths are, how their output is changing over time. You can do comparisons, and you can look at collaboration. So again, looking at Cardiff University. So at the bottom here on the third column are all of the organizations that Cardiff has collaborated with previously. And again, but then also a comparison of their research output in semiconductors against Imperial College, and I compared as well with UCL, Nottingham, and Bristol. And possibly this column on the right-hand side might be the one which is of most interest to you, is actually the detail of the research itself. So looking in very great detail at specific areas of research output, looking at the trends, looking at the affiliated and associated terms, which organizations are strong in it, and so on. So does anybody have any questions at that stage, or shall I push on to the demonstration?
Yeah, I think you can go ahead.
That's fine. Okay, so are you now seeing the Engineering Village page, hopefully?
Correct.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
Okay, so all of the information which is in Inspec Analytics has basically been transferred and is completely available through Engineering Village, which is a very good thing. This is our homepage for the IET's version of it, and you can see if I click into it, you get an absolutely identical replica. And in fact, there are a few features within the Engineering Village version which even the IET's version doesn't have. So it is a very good tool. There are three ways in which you can access the information. You've got a drop-down search bar here, where you can go into Inspec Analytics. Currently, we have this promotional box on the homepage. I dare say at some point in the future that will be replaced by a new product or service that comes along. But again, that is a way to go into it. Or you can actually go into Record. You can see here, my default here is just for Inspec, but I can search across both. So if I go into a record here, and you also, so this is like the record that we saw the screenshot for Cardiff, and you can see all of these terms here with this fantastic little sort of squiggle logo here, and that would transfer you through into the record for that particular search. So if you know the details about what you're wanting to search on, be it an organization, be it an Inspec classification or a control term, you can click straight through to any of those, and it will take you. You can begin your search very quickly and very directly. We also do have a keyword search box up here, which can help get the search started. Again, the screen grabs I showed on that earlier slide were taken from exactly this. So this is showing you all of the organizations globally who have semiconductor in their title. You see there are 30 results in total. For thesaurus terms, there are 103 results. And so again, this is showing you the top 10. So again, you'll recognize this is exactly the same one that I showed you with electrical conductivity and CMOS in. And then these are the specific subject classification terms. And again, you can see most of them are beginning with B, but you have also got in there electrical conductivity phenomena, which begins with an A because it's been classified as physics. Going to organizations, first of all. So the way that we rank the information, I'm going to just produce this on the chart as well. So our default ranking is basically to show the organisations with the most records in InSpec. One or two. So something to point out as well at the outset is I mentioned on the slides that the data in the InSpec database goes back to 1969, and in fact ultimately back to 1898. The information in InSpec Analytics goes back to 2013. And it was when we were building it, we realized that it was going to be too big a job and too resource intensive, basically, to add all of the information in one lump. So the way that we have done it, we did a lot of market research and testing, and the feedback was people could work with a 5-year span of data, and then as we evolve and as we move forward, we will be adding all front year, sort of front years as data is brought in, and we will add historical data in tranches. So it may be possible at some point to do a search over a 10, 15, 20-year period. And going forwards, you can see here that we've added some of the 2019 data, but it's not complete yet, hence partial data. And I would expect all of those lines to sort of tick up significantly as we go forward. So this is showing you for Tsinghua University, they have published the most articles that have been indexed in InSpec. You can see the breakdown across our different subject areas. The eagle-eyed amongst you might have spotted that there's no D category. That was information technology, but apparently it sort of ran out at the level of fax machines and things, and subsequently everything to do with information technology has been incorporated mainly into computers and control. We have as well here what we call the donut. So this is showing you when you break physics and all of these other subjects down into their subcategories, which again was on one of the slides. Tsinghua University have had articles indexed across 81% of our physics categories, 91% for electrical engineering, 87% for computing, and so on. So again, it's a quick indicator as to whether an organization is a broad-based publisher or quite specific. And we do have lots of research institutes who specialize in astronomy or things to do with nuclear power and so on, who may actually be publishing quite broadly in terms of the number of articles, but their coverage might be 6, 7, 8% because they're only interested in particular topics. You can do some quite smart things as well. You can do advanced searches so that you can specify, if you only want to look at particular organizations, you can specify that. If you only want to look at particular locations, again, you can choose those, or organizational types. So if you wanted to say, I only want to look at corporate organizations in the US, the UK, China, wherever it may be, you can put in that information. So I'm going to continue our search on Cardiff. Again, it's getting increasingly intuitive, so you can do shortened searches, like UCL, for example. When we first launched InSpec Analytics, you had to put in University College London or it wouldn't find it. It's now getting much more intuitive again about finding results. And as I mentioned, so for every one of the 28,700 organizations, you can see how quickly it generates. We can produce this page. So this is showing you Cardiff's output over this 5-year period. I can show you year on year by hovering on each of the nodes. You can see what their ranking is. So they've published 5,000 articles, and that ranks them 367th of organizations within the InSpec database. And over that period, their research has increased quite healthily by 66%. If we carry on down, you can see the breakdown of their articles, firstly by the InSpec subject classifications. So you can see the total article count and the amount of coverage that they're utilizing. Likewise for the thesaurus terms. So, and you can see there we've got 3.5 semiconductors as one of their top search terms. So if I click on that, And then I can create a graph of it as well.
Go outside.
So for all of these search terms, and again, I could isolate this. So I could limit my search basically to anything to do with semiconductors. So this is everything at Cardiff that they're publishing with semiconductors in the title. So you can see the number of articles that they have published. You can also now go in and look at the authors. So if we go in for 3.5 semiconductors, and I mentioned before, if you remember on the screenshot, about Roberto Quaglia as being the lead author on that paper, and there he is. So he's the leading author at Cardiff in this particular field. So again, you know, if you as the CSA are looking for partner organizations, perhaps to collaborate with in specific fields, you can find what the organization is doing in great detail. You can actually go in and find out who is writing the papers. So a really powerful tool. So within the subject classifications as well, so it breaks it down, as I said, into the different fields. If we go down into electrical engineering, so this is the second tier. So most of the information is under B2000. As you can see, now we're getting into the detail. Semiconductor materials and technology. At this point, I'll put in a filter so that we can see that visually as well. So this is Cardiff's research outputs in these various classifications under semiconductors. And I realize I'm taking a broad and slightly blunt instrument approach to this by putting in semiconductor, but again, hopefully you get the point that you could do this for much, much narrower search terms, and you know, you're still going to find this level of information about what is being published in those areas. So hopefully you're seeing, as I say, I'm going through it at some speed because I'm conscious that it's a lot to take in and we've got a lot to cover. But at the organizational level, so just a couple of other things. So I mentioned about the collaborating organizations. So again, you can see who Cardiff has collaborated with previously. You can, again, do advanced searches. So if you say, okay, actually, I want to isolate and see who they have collaborated with in the US or China or France or Wales, you can do that. You can also do a comparison. So you can compare up to 5 organizations. So let's put in Cardiff. And for ease and a bit of fun, we'll compare them with Bangor. And Aberystwyth, which is where my brother works. So again, so you can see at this top level, you can do an immediate comparison of the article output, and that's again split down by different subject categories. The heat map is basically, again, a quick indication as to whether how broadly each of these universities is publishing in these different fields. The more blood red the brick, the more research intensive they are and broad based. So we know that Cardiff is publishing broadly across mechanical engineering. We saw that before. So 86% of coverage across those sectors. So that's why that's so high. And we, as we did with the looking just at Cardiff's subject breakdown, again, we can drill into this information in the same way and look at exactly what the output is for these institutions. And say you can do this you can compare any 5 organizations globally from that list of 28,000. So really, really powerful and insightful information. So those are the things I want to show you kind of at the organization level. Just very quickly, but you can also, you know, absolutely go in and look at information by thesaurus term or subject classification. So So again, I can do a broad-based search, which will provide me with all of these results. If I then click into this, so again, this is showing me now. So for this specific result search area, again, I can see the research timeline. I can see the number of articles that have been published and the trend for that. If I carry on, I can see all of the related searches for this term. So yes, I can investigate in great detail all of the areas around this particular search area. See the top organizations publishing, top journals, conferences, and again the related and associated search terms. And this is one of the features which I was mentioning at the outset, which is unique currently to Engineering Village. And I think a great advantage is you can click through from here. It will take you back and produce it as a list of inspect records. So I think that's a real strength. Unfortunately, this is something perhaps Renus and guys who are to look at. You can't backspace. So if I wanted to go back, I can do so very quickly. I'm simply going to go Inspect Analytics and it's going to take me back basically to where I was before. And finally, I will just show you similarly for subject classifications. So again, this is the inspec unique hierarchy. So if I know what the subject classification is that I want to look at, so in this case, I'm going to look at the semiconductor process modeling and simulation. And again, so this is going to give me, again, a bespoke page, and I can do this for any one of the inspec records, subject classification records. And again, it's going to give me similar information that we looked at. So all of the related thesaurus terms and classifications and what they're being indexed under. So again, you can see a mix of physics and electrical engineering. Key organizations publishing in these areas. And again, I'd be able to do a restricted search. So again, I can say in this subject area, who are the organizations from the US or from Belgium, as it says here, or from the UK, who are publishing in this field. So again, you can get into that very specific information. There are other things, there are other bits and pieces, but as I say, I think I will stop there at this stage. And if anybody has any questions or wants to look at anything further, let me know.
Very impressive, Dan. I mean, a lot of gold nuggets in that presentation. I think we encourage people at CSA to start using it. We are trying to be a bit conscious of time, as David also mentioned. Yep. So Ryan will take some of his time off. I know we had 3 hours, but it seems we can do it under the 2 hours and give some time back. But it was a wonderful presentation, Dan. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problems.
All right. Okay. So I'm new to Teams, guys. How do I get control of the screen?
You see the red leave button. Take there's a button next to it with the arrow pointing up behind the square. Open share tray.
Right. Oh, okay. Yes. Yep. And then boom. Okay. Thank you. So let me know when you can see my screen.
Yep.
Okay, great. Yep, guys, I'll just be super time conscious here. Fortunately, Science Direct is pretty intuitive. So can I just ask quickly, has anyone here unfamiliar with Science Direct or just hasn't used it, let's say, more than 3 times before?
I don't think anyone's used it apart from me, Ryan, because I'm not sure if anyone really knew about it, hence why we're very keen for you to sort of show this off. I find it very useful. Oh, Hyman has used it. I stand corrected.
Okay, all right. No worries. Okay, so Science Direct in a nutshell, it's Elsevier's online repository. We've got over 15 million unique publications on here, and they range from journal articles, ebooks, reference works, this kind of thing. What that means for you guys is that you're able to search and access curated, trusted, and relevant research faster and easier. And the key point here is, sorry, if you hear wailing, it's my cat, that you get full text articles here. So the way it would work with Science Direct is that you would just go on sciencedirect.com and you're greeted by this landing page here. And as usual, you've got your search bar here. A lot of searches have been around semiconductors and I think it was gallium arsenide, right? Does anybody have a term that they'd like me to start searching here, or should I just go with what we've already had?
I think probably something like gallium nitride is probably more relevant, or silicon carbide.
Okay, great, thanks. All right, so let's go with silicon carbide for the time being. And what this is doing when you type a term into the search engine is it's searching the entirety of the text. This is where, unlike our competitors, which will usually search the title, the abstract, or the author-given keywords, Science Direct will have the power to search through the entire ebook or the entire full text article. So even if it's only mentioned once, you're getting that search in there, which is really comprehensive. So once you search any given search term, if it's a broader term, up here you'll get suggested publications. So these could be journals or ebooks that reference it quite a lot. And then down here you've got your results. They're organized by relevancy, but you can also organize them by date. Much like a lot of the other softwares that you guys have been shown, you've got your filters on the left here. You can filter by year, review article, journal, whether or not it's open access or not. Open access being that you can access it with even if you don't have a subscription because it's open to the public. And Open Archive is a version of open access that's even more free because I believe it allows you to download your copies and edit those copies should you wish to. I think it's the CC0 license, but I can double check that for you guys. So over here, we've got 91,244 results. Pretty broad. It's a lot of reading. If you wanted to cut that down, like has been mentioned in the other presentations, we have the Boolean operators in here. So if you typed in silicon carbide and, well, okay, firstly, let me go back a bit here. So if you only wanted, right now it's just searching for the word silicon and the word carbide, and any article that mentions both of those words, it's showing. If you'd like them next to each other because it's a single term, you would put in these double quotation marks, and I'll send over a cheat sheet with all of the search terms. But yeah, suddenly we've cut down the results quite a bit because this is only showing articles that have silicon carbide mentioned. If you wanted to pick specific years, if you wanted to only go, let's say, recent articles, and you only wanted to find research, each time you click it, it narrows the search down further and further. And with your trial subscription, it's access to over 2,500 journals on the platform for content from 1995 up until today, sorry. And what you'll see here is if you're able to access it, it will say full text access here with this green dot. And that will mean that once you click on the article, you're able to access it. So I'm just going to click on the first article at the top here, just so you get an idea of what the landing page looks like. So yeah, up top, you've got the journal, the issue, the part, pages, the authors with contact details if you wish to contact them, the DOI. And then in the event of your subscription, you'll have the abstract, and usually it'll be blocked by a paywall, but in your case, you'll have the full text article either here on the page, or if you wish to download the PDF, that's right up here at the top. That's really it for Science Direct. There are some features that we're adding that I'd like to show you guys, because where we excel is the deep search function. That means that you're able to search through the entirety of the platform, and we're adding these new machine learning features in here. So once you guys create an account, and again, I think after this email, I'll jump in when we send the follow-up email. I'll send over the instructions, and I'll be on hand to answer any questions as to how to register. But there's two things I want to show you quickly that we're doing with machine learning. So the first is the My Recommendations page. And what this means is that when you have an account, for every full text article you access, we'll keep a history of it. And we'll also begin to predict, using this equation that we're developing, papers that you might find interesting. I know with you guys, a lot of the other catapults have found this helpful because it's all about identifying innovation and new fields. What this is doing is it will, based on the papers you are accessing and their keywords, will try and recommend new papers to you I'd be really, really interested, and I'd appreciate any of your thoughts on this. If you ever use this, is it suggesting articles that are relevant? Are you noticing a pattern here that it's displaying? Yeah, if any of you guys get the chance to use this, do let me know what you think of it. And you can download these recommendations if you want offline. And the second feature, it's again, the recommended articles up here at the top of the article page. It's again using machine learning and the predictions of what previous people have clicked after visiting this article, what articles could be relevant to you. And you've got the advantage here of being able to download the PDF immediately if this already sounds really interesting to you, or clicking here again. And the final feature I want to show you guys about Science Direct, if you're unfamiliar with it, that could be useful is, let's say that you have a search like silicon carbide, and you want to be notified when new papers are coming up. I think David went over a similar thing, these search alerts. So let's say you want new research, you want to be notified of new research that features the term silicon carbide. What you would do is you'd run the search. Sorry, let me just click 2021. And then you would press set search alert up here, just below the number of results. You can call it what you want. And how this will work is every week or every month, if there's a new paper published that would appear in this search, you'll get notified of it via email. Very useful because your subscription allows you to access the vast majority of our journal library. It's unlikely that you won't be able to access some. The only exceptions are some society journals and a few Lancet titles just because of copywriting. But I'll send over a full list. You'll be pleased to see that it's the vast majority of the content that we have to offer. And that means that if there is a new paper that comes up in one of your search alerts, you'll have the confidence to be able to access the full text article immediately. Yeah, so you would just do that, call it what you want, and press save, and you can manage your search alerts up here at the top right. And that's really it. So if I could just, I don't know if it will show you, can you see PowerPoint now, or is it still?
Still Science Direct.
Okay,
Yeah.
Give me 1 second to do the thing. I just want to give you some information on your trial itself.
Yes, now it's the presentation.
Okay, great, thank you.
But just this is not the slideshow. Yeah, now it's slideshow mode. Perfect.
Cool. Okay, awesome. So your Science Direct Corporate Edition trial, what it means is that you're allowed access to 2,500 journals. It's over 2,500 journals, actually, for content published from 1995 to the present day. At the moment, the trial runs until the 22nd of July, 2020. But if there is interest in this and we do get usage from you guys, then I'll be able to make the case to extend it for another month, which seems likely because I think this could be really interesting to you guys in conjunction with your other trials. Yes, yeah, exactly. Because
and I think Mr. Chow also raised his hand.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
It would be helpful, Ryan, because it would be helpful, Ryan, because it'd be in alignment with the other trial of novel, which runs out on the 21st of August. So if you could just do it now, that would just make it easier. And then we can at least, you know, when Sophia and I sort of do a debrief and say, hey, guys.
Yeah, no, sweet. That's good. Yeah, all I really needed was
guys can both look at it from a usage stats perspective.
Cool. Yes. Yeah, no problem. All right, so I'll get the ball rolling now because it can take a little time to get it extended. So it's likely to be up to the 22nd of August once I get that done. It's only up to 20 users, I'm afraid. This is literally the maximum banding. They tried to get me to do 10, but this isn't about sales. This is just more about helping each other out during this crazy time. So I can get up to 20 users here. How it
I think that's a reasonable number. I think that's a reasonable number because mostly this will be used by a lot of the people on the call, which are very scientific based. So it wouldn't be used by the BD team. I'll use it for research purposes.
Right. Okay, that's a relief then, because I was worried. If 20 up to 20 is good, then that's good to hear. And I'll let you know how to register in a follow-up email. The way we're going to do it, because obviously everybody's at home at the minute and we don't know when we're going to go back to the office. It's unlikely it'll be during the trial period. It'll be remote access registration. How that'll work is when I send it over in the instructions, you would just create a Science Direct account, and then I'd send you a code that ties it to Catapult's trial, and then just like that, you'll have access to your articles. Is there anything? Yes. So whilst you're using it, if you have any questions at all, even if it's like a little question, if you're unsure about one of the search terms, don't be afraid to just shoot me a message, r.barrowtheraj@elsevier.com. Any comments and feedback as well, as always, are massively appreciated. We're trying to make this the best experience for our users, even if it's something small, even if you think that the search bar should be, should invade less of the web page, or if you have like a big suggestion, I'm like more than happy to hear any of it. I'd really appreciate suggestions on the machine learning thing, because we want to make this really good, because we're effectively just trying to optimize people's searches. I'll send over these slides, as well as a breakdown of the search shortcuts. So it's the usual Boolean operators and not, and or, and we have shortcuts for those. And yeah, I feel like I've been talking. I need to check the chat actually, but do you guys have any questions at the moment? Just clicking the chat box now. Oh, you saw my cat, yeah. Okay, it doesn't look like there's any questions here. It's pretty intuitive. It's just the ability to have full text articles, and Elsevier's content is really good. We have a lot of the highly cited research available. But again, guys, any questions at all, no matter how small, just send them over to my email. I'm more than happy to, if later on we've got everybody registered and you guys would like another session where it's just the Science Direct users and we can go through it together, I'm more than happy to do that. We can set something up like that. But it looks like you guys are all.
Yeah, that would be helpful, I think, Ryan, because I think one of our colleagues who highlighted one of the shortcomings of our existing EV subscription had to leave the conversation, and I think he'd also asked some questions about SPIE anyway. So, it's about trying to make life easier for our researchers when they're trying to do the work. So, for those on the call, I think Sophia and I will probably have to do a little vetting on the 20 because if I'm already using it, that's that down to 19, and Heyman's using it, so that's 18.
They're going.
It's a generous number, but it could go very quickly. But what we also want to do is actively encourage everybody to make use of this, to see how it makes our life easier, and then when we sort of do the end of trial sort of evaluation, maybe it's an offline conversation between myself, you, Marinus, and Sophia, and then we sort of work out, okay, well, we can see that perhaps maybe people didn't use it as much as we thought it did, or the usage is off the scale, and we then think, well, then it's definitely something that I can sort of take to senior leadership to say that we need to consider getting this tool. Absolutely, yeah. And we when we do that final evaluation, we can also pull up all of our usage statistics on our end with your permission. So that will be how many users, how many downloads, what journals have been the most accessed, what subject areas. I feel like that information will be really helpful to you guys regardless, because at least you'll have some idea of what kind of research, what your research breakdown is. So we can absolutely do that as well afterwards. Okay, all right. Marinus, over to you, I guess.
Well, we cut down 3 hours to 2 hours, and I think this was also in line of expectations. So maybe we were the only one thinking was 3 hours. I hope it was useful. We went over 3 databases, actually 4, because if we look at Inspec Analytics, you can already see it has its own unique identity on our platform, using the trusted data of the IET. So we hope you found it useful to have a bit of a sense of how Novel can be used for foundational text, get oriented, do equation and applied engineering, and how you can use Engineering Village as well to really scan the technology landscape from an engineering perspective, and how deep you can go using Inspec Analytics, and of course finally closed down by Ryan with the primary research. So thank you really, Ryan, for getting the approval, and also that you will extend it with another month. I think it's so important that we're doing it.
100%.
CSA is a fairly new organization, I think less than 3 years, highly ambitious, growing, they're getting project pipeline and doing all great stuff. So I think it's also our responsibility to help out in that respect as we build this relationship. maybe a bit off topic. I know we're working with other catapults already, and I'm putting it out there. If you feel that we should be repeating this type of services, trials, if you have a network there, we are more than happy to do that. I spoke to Dan about it, and Ryan, David. We are more than happy to reproduce this kind of activity, 2 months or trials, or see how it goes, to other catapults. So just for your information, something to take with you. That's it from my side. Are there any other closing remarks? Anybody has something they want to say? This is the time to do it.
Yeah.
On the call that haven't asked any questions, then I would actively.
I think we need clear instructions on how
the guys from
them.
I hear two people in parallel, so it's hard to understand.
Sophia, what do you want to say?
Actually, I think we need clear instructions on how to connect to all of them, because we have just a couple of months. So I need to know exactly on how to log in.
Yes.
I had an email right now with a picture. They tried to log in. Can I share?
Sure.
They tried to log in Novel and came across this. Can you see my screen?
I can't read it, but
your promotional subscription does not provide access to this content.
Yes. So what we will be doing, we will be sending out a recap maybe today or tomorrow morning, saying this is the way to authenticate, and we will be giving step-by-step instructions, because we want to avoid people going to the sampler, because if they're in the novel sampler, they will not get access to the trial you have now. So we take it as a note to reconfirm the methods of authentication, which are the best path forward. And I would suggest then to use that emails as a basis to communicate to the rest of the team. So we will be doing that. Anything else?
That was the common actually question from everyone, how we can connect, because it's limited the time as well.
Yes.
Definitely, we need all of us to connect tomorrow if that's possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So duly noted.
Great. I don't think I have any other questions. Definitely we will share your emails with the guys. So if they need anything to ask further, they will contact you straight away instead with the interlink of me. Of course, they can ask me and David, definitely. Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Anyone that?
Yeah, I think take the advantage now whilst you've got the guys from Elsevier and obviously Dan from the IET. I think definitely Dan, given the fact that you've got quite a lot to share on Inspect Direct, we should probably have a separate training session. But I noticed there's about still a good healthy number of catapulters here, so to take this last couple of minutes to ask some questions, please. I would actively encourage it.
Anything at all? No such thing as a dumb question.
We understood it all.
I will just want to say again, and we will write it on the email as well, but we covered a lot of things here, as Marino said, 4 actually different tools. So if you try to get to the tools and you see that you don't remember anything, we are more than happy to have another session like this. We don't have to plan something in advance, and we don't have to plan something with everyone in the company. If 1 person, 2 people have questions, we can have a short video call, screen sharing session, and we can help you finish it. So don't bother. Just send us an email, and we'll be doing it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the silence is confirmation that I think people will have a play, digest, and maybe come back to you. But I think 2 hours. We've done an awful lot here, so appreciate you guys setting this up and giving us a great demo of all the services on the platform. Any other closing remarks, Sophia?
Not at the moment, actually. No, thank you very much.
Well, let me just say then, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. We welcome your business and we love this session. And let's try to make it a success. And I wish you a great day in COVID times. I hope you still get some nice vacation and hopefully speak soon.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you,
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Some food.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.